We're about to be able to say good riddance to Stephen Colbert. I don't know about you, but I kind of watch him like I used to watch Jim Baker, the evangelist. I'd be channel surfing along, and there, sure enough, is Jim and Tammy Faye, and she'd be crying, and he'd be trying to sell condos that he didn't own, and I would just sit there so I could watch him to dislike him. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. Sort of like, Howard Stern, people who really like him watch him for 30 minutes. People who really dislike him watch him for an hour and 30 minutes. So that's not how I would choose to make my living. But Salvador Litvak, he is an author and one smart guy. He went to Harvard when it was really special, and he went to NYU to obtain a law degree. He was born in Chile. He is an author and has a book called Let My People Laugh, Greatest Jewish Jokes of All Time. And he also has a brand new movie opening at theaters near you, or maybe it's streamed near you. I'm not sure. But
In
Salvador,
theaters.
welcome to The Truth.
It's great to be with you, John. And yes, we open in theaters today, July 18th. My wife Anita and I wrote the movie, and I directed, and we've been working toward this moment for 6 years. And we're very, very excited.
Excited and proud, I am sure. Let's start with the movie. Tell us about the movie. It's I had the name here.
It's called Guns and Moses, and it stars Mark Feuerstein, Neil McDonough, Christopher Lloyd, Dermot Mulroney, Jake Busey. And it's the story of a man of faith, a rabbi, an Orthodox rabbi in a small high desert town who becomes an unlikely gunfighter after his community is violently attacked.
Wow.
And it's very much, we never, listen, we shot it in 2022. We started writing in 2019. The character was inspired by a real life event, a tragedy. There was a shooting in a synagogue in Poway, California, and a woman was killed, Lori Gilbert Kay. The rabbi had his fingers shot off. I went down, I attended the funeral the next day. I interviewed the rabbi and watched him become a national figure in the ensuing days, calling on the public to do mitzvahs, to do something good and holy, to make meaning out of that tragedy. I was very inspired by that. But we set out to make a thriller, a proper edge of your seat thriller. My wife and I watched a thriller a day for 2 years to prepare for it. Studied the greats like Hitchcock, Polanski, De Palma, Clouseau. And we're so proud of this movie. It's exciting, but we always knew that Jews under attack who fight back would be relevant, but we never could have imagined the world that surrounded us since the horror of October 7th, and in some ways even worse since then, this explosion of overt anti-Semitism and Jew hatred that we're seeing. I'm an Orthodox Jew, which is to say a visible Jew. We've been aware of the threat level for quite a while. I didn't grow up with guns or around guns, but as things became more dangerous, I joined an organization called Magen Am, Shield of the Nation, created by a Chabad rabbi, that trains and licenses regular guys like me to carry. And we're very strong on Second Amendment.
Well, I was going to say, thank God for the Second Amendment.
Thank God. Thank God. Because
it works
the
for
bad guys
everybody.
don't care what the laws are. They have the guns. And the good guys need to be able to defend our communities. This is not a problem that's limited to synagogues and the Jewish people. You've had attacks in churches in Wayne, Michigan recently, and now in the Baptist church in Kentucky. And we've got to stand tall, stand proud, defend ourselves, and be prepared so that we're not soft targets.
So, Salvador, I've have had many Jewish friends over my life, and I really thought that after World War II, the end of the Holocaust, that we were all going to live in peace and harmony and good spirit. Where did the train get off the track? Why are we finding ourselves being put back 60, 75 years from where we are today?
It's a great question. We're always talking about it. People are asking this question all the time. The truth is it's nothing new.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't originate the question, but okay.
but it's nothing new. Our sages teach, and we say this at every Passover Seder, that in every generation our enemies rise up to destroy us, and the Holy One saves us from their midst. So we had a respite after the Holocaust. My grandmother survived and carried my mother as an infant through a concentration camp. My grandfather was murdered in a different camp. I grew up very conscious of the Holocaust. And so for a time, it was unfashionable to be out in the open with one's Jew hatred. So that's over. Now these people feel emboldened, comfortable. They shout their anti Semitism from the rooftops. You have a Democratic candidate for mayor in New York City who has publicly called for the murder of Jews, saying globalize the Intifada. That's what that means,
He
and
he
does
he
not
he
recant
did
his
that.
remarks. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And when he's
Well,
called
how
on
many
it, he does
Jews
not
live in New York?
apologize. It's the largest concentration in America, I believe 3
Yeah.
million.
Oh my God! Out of what? How many people are? How many residents? 8 million? No, I think there
Something like
really
that.
not that many people in the city of New York
Yeah, I
of
think
the
you have it
five
right.
boroughs.
Right. I think it's like 8 to 10 million in the city itself and 20 million in the surrounding area, something like that.
Yeah, the metropolitan area is huge, and the people
Yeah.
that commute in and out every day is substantial. But
Hmm.
well, how would he get elected mayor? If is there a Jew in New York that would vote for him now?
John, there's not a Jew that I respect that would vote for this creep. But sadly, there are. There are Jews that would vote for this man because they're upset because they've given up Judaism and Torah as their religion, and instead they look to progressivism. That's become their religion. And so they excuse any apparent fault of somebody who aligns with these progressive values. This man is not a progressive. He is a communist. He is
Communist.
calling for the murder of Jews. His whole story makes no sense. He's just going to spend other people's money until he runs out of it. He's going to shove all these laws down your throat. He makes promises like communists always do until they get elected. But along with that, I mean, this guy's a rabid anti-Semite, and he's talked that way all his life. And now he's being elevated to the Democratic candidate for mayor.
I really felt like we were so far beyond that, and that we had certain laws that governed our behavior in America in terms of our civility towards one another.
Mm.
You cannot be disrespectful to a black person, or else you will be immediately canceled.
Hmm.
You cannot. I didn't think that you could speak ill of Jewish people without universal condemnation. I just don't get it. But is it possible that it's just a small fringe group of people that are capturing the attention of the media, and it's being blown out of real proportion? Or do you think that maybe it's reflective of what is an underlying uh, hatred that people feel in their hearts? Which I would think is sad if they do, by the way.
I, it's definitely not some kind of a mainstream view. I think that most Americans are good. We might disagree with moderates on the other side of the aisle. I think we both agree that freedom is good. We both agree that security is good. How much security will we trade for freedom? How much freedom will we trade for security? These are the kinds of issues that we can argue about where we have basic principles that we share. But when you get out to the extremes, then no, these people lose all reason. And the problem is that in their irrationality, they get very loud and they capture attention, which is what they want. And so I think they create an image, hopefully an illusion, that their numbers are much larger than they are. I pray that it's not as bad as it seems when you see this kind of militant anti-Semitism on the news every day. However, I mean, we see, you mentioned that I went to Harvard. I used to not talk about that. Now that it's a badge of shame, I'll be happy to talk about it. But I mean, think about it. These college professors, they are teaching these kids lies. They just buy into this lie. You only have to look at a map of the Middle East to see how ridiculous it is to call Israel a colonizer when it's surrounded by 47 Muslim nations that encompass such a vast area. It's like curvature of the earth, right? Israel's like the size of New Jersey. And if you, where do you live, John? Where are you?
Well, my main residence is in Atlanta, Georgia. I
Okay.
spend a large amount of my time in West Palm Beach, and I'm just finishing a house here across from Mar-a-Lago, in fact.
Oh, beautiful. Congratulations. What a beautiful
Well, I
place
want
to
you to
live.
come and visit when you come to this side of the country. I hope
I
you'll
love
give me a
Florida.
jingle, and we will VIP it
I
on
love
your
Florida.
name, by the way.
Thank you. And when
I
you,
haven't written a book. I haven't produced a movie.
so I'm just saying, like, if you're in West Palm Beach, imagine if Palm Beach were lobbing missiles at you, all day long trying to kill you. Like, the people of West Palm Beach would not put up with that, right? If New Jersey was lobbing missiles into New York would not put up with that. Okay. If they were killing children in New York, they would not put up with that. They would level New Jersey really fast. And the whole world expects Israel to just put up with being attacked by a people that is just absolutely committed to the murder and destruction of Jews. And the funny thing is that the accusation confession is that they call themselves victims and that Jews are the colonizers and the aggressors and all this nonsense. And then this gets picked up and taught in the colleges. And you know what? It's bought and paid for, as we have found out. This incredible amount of Qatari money that has come into the American university system and has bought and paid for the teaching of these kinds of attitudes, and not only about hating Jews, but about hating America. They've
So,
paid for professors to teach American kids that America is evil. It's
so
unbelievable.
President Trump just went to the Middle East and visited Qatar, and they had a love fest while he was there. They like him so much they even gave the United States a 747 so
Hmm.
President Trump could travel around in style. The old one wasn't good enough. Now, so tell us, what do you make of Qatar?
They in that part of the world, what they respect is strength. Right? So for a long time, you had weak American presidents. You had local sheiks and emirs, with tons of money and a hatred of the Jews paying for that. Now the winds are blowing differently. So apparently the bankers in Qatar are trying to hedge their bets. That's the way I read this. But be careful. Be careful who your allies are. America can trust Israel. That has been a solid ally, the only democratic ally in that region for a long time.
Yet we think that they spy on us regularly. And I'm thinking we probably spy on them too.
The Israelis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's an intelligence community, but obviously we've been working in partnership for a long time too. When you have adverse interests, then you have to be careful. You have to protect yourself. But if you talk about the quality of intelligence and defense that we've seen exhibited in the last couple of years, taking out Iran and all their leadership, taking out Hezbollah and all their leadership, Operation Grim Beeper. I mean, Israel is punching way above its weight, but it's a tiny country surrounded by bloodthirsty enemies that really are trying to destroy it. And thank God, no, that is not a universal attitude among the Arab nations. I think that there's lots of great Arabs, who we could absolutely live in hand with. But again, over there, like over here, you've got this loud extremist minority that we have to be very careful about.
Do you think that the Palestinians have any argument of merit? Do you feel that they have been persecuted or oppressed, and that could cause them to act out in such violence?
Well, I think 100% they've been oppressed. They've been oppressed by their leadership. They've
Hmm.
been oppressed by Hamas. They've been oppressed by Fatah. They've been oppressed by the Palestinian Authority. Uh, does anybody really believe that the Jews who returned to our ancestral homeland, which everyone knows who's ever read a Bible, that the Jews have an ancient connection to Israel? and that we pray every day, 3 times a day, for Jerusalem, for the safety of Jerusalem, for the return to Jerusalem. And we've been praying that for thousands of years. And then in the modern age, we finally have an opportunity to live there and to create a Jewish homeland. Does anyone really believe that the Jews in Israel want to expand Israel and fill up, the Middle East? It's obviously not. We just want a tiny little sliver
And live
that is
in
called
peace.
the Holy Land and live in peace. And we have
Yeah.
offered peace over and over
Mhm.
and over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And as Golda Meir famously said, if they would lay down their arms, there would be peace. That's obvious. If we would lay down our arms, all the Jews would be massacred because they behave that way constantly.
I've sort of maintained this paradigm, and I've said it here on the show many times over the last 3 years, that there is some component in my brain that sympathizes with Palestinians. They live in poverty. They are abused. They are oppressed, I think, from what I can tell. But when you go into a music festival and kill 200 innocent people that have done nothing to harm you, and when you assault and kill little babies and pregnant women, I'm sorry, whatever sympathy for you I may have had just goes out the window.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's just, I don't know what the answer is, but these people behave as in heathens. And I think that when people behave as heathens, they have to be treated as heathens.
Yeah, it's a tough nut to crack because their national product is hate. That's
Yeah.
all they produce.
Yeah.
That's all they have.
Right. Speaking of hate, do you think that Stephen Colbert really hates Donald Trump, or is he just a mercenary that's living off of a niche that he's found that he can beat up on Trump every night and get an audience to fill the Ed Sullivan Theater and yell and scream and clap for him and tell him how great he is? I think he's delusional, frankly.
It wasn't such a good business model. It's over.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, comedy dies in a woke aquarium, right? I mean, there's just nothing.
There is
funny.
nothing funny in wokeism.
There's not funny. They're not funny.
Wokeism isn't funny.
It's not funny.
Just like Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Adam Schiff, they're just not funny.
They're not funny.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, he really is funny.
He's hilarious. I mean, he's a comedian, and that's what the left never understands. They take him so seriously, and they clutch their pearls and get so alarmed by every statement that he makes. And he's just a comedian. But he's a comedian and a businessman, and a brilliant businessman, who has made a fortune by every time he walks into a negotiation, he sows chaos. He just says the most extreme things, takes the most extreme position. They're like, oh my God, we're dealing with a crazy person. We got to try to get something out of this that's normal. And all of a sudden, whatever the terms were that he was going to get, they're better, And so, I mean, who would you want negotiating on behalf of America? Him? Or like any other Democrat candidate that they've ever put up, who would just walk into the sort of international marketplace and just cough up the goods on behalf of America. Of course he's going to get us a better deal. Of course he's going to create strength.
You really think he's better than Joe Biden? For our radio listeners, I just nodded off there for a second.
Oh man, I don't know who was running the country when Joe Biden was president. It certainly wasn't him.
I totally agree with you. In fact, the Speaker of the House said that he questioned him on some executive order he signed around liquid natural gas, and Biden said, "I didn't sign that." And he said, "Well, you sure did, Mr. President. Here's your signature on it right here. So if he didn't sign it, who did?" To me, that was pretty proof positive. So going back to is the Israelis and Mossad. What's your take? Was Epstein working for Mossad? Have you ever been to Epstein Island?
I have not.
Oh, your wife's in the room, isn't she?
I have not been to Epstein Island. I don't travel in those circles. Thank God. I'm a happily married man.
Yeah, ditto.
I listen. I think it's ridiculous to claim that this was not a blackmail operation. I mean, what the hell else could it be? Where did that man make all his money? He never produced anything, never contributed anything to the world, and he was obviously trafficking children to rich, powerful men. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for trafficking children to rich, powerful men. So, since she's been convicted of that crime, it's obvious that she and the people who convicted her know who those men are. But we don't know who they are. So, yeah, I'm appalled by that. I think it's terrible. I don't understand what's going on.
I've taken the position that personally, I'm not interested in seeing the list, if there is a list. What I am interested in seeing is who was Epstein working for and
Yeah.
who sanctioned him to do the things that he did, who allowed him to operate with impunity for 20 years. And I'm a little curious about how he did assemble his money, because I can't find where he produced any meaningful product or a legitimate customer list in the finance world, other than the guy who had the Gap,
I
Lexner.
mean, let's just talk about this like a screenplay, right?
Yeah,
Let's just pretend this is a fictional story. So if you had some kind of a guy running a blackmail operation and making millions of dollars by blackmailing these sleazy, hedonistic rich guys who go to this offshore island to get their rocks off in this vile, illegal, exploitative manner, um, it seems like after a while he would roll in people that were too powerful. You know what I mean? Like people that it would be dangerous for some private individual to have the goods on. So then at that point, some government intelligence agency probably would take over the operation. They would either destroy it to protect, their politicians, or they would just capture it and keep blackmailing people to control them. Now, I have no idea what I'm talking about. This is just me as a screenwriter speculating. But it seems like, is it a far-fetched idea that some government agency, took over that operation, and now it would be too, devastating and destructive to the American government to reveal such a thing? And maybe that's why we all need to get past it.
or the other option. We do know that Robert Maxwell was an agent of Mossad, and we
Yeah,
do know that Ghislaine is his daughter.
yeah.
And so one possibility is that he was working for Mossad. I don't think he could have worked for Mossad without the secrets or the CIA's knowledge
That's what I'm
and
saying.
probably
Even
consent.
if you're right, even if it started as Mossad, then it probably became CIA. You see what I'm saying? Like
Or maybe they worked in conjunction with one another. I don't know. I,
maybe.
I watched a podcast this morning, and they hypothesized that Mossad was actually, or is actually, blackmailing America. That they've got goods on America that they don't want, that our government doesn't want people to see, and that's why Trump is going to such extraordinary lengths to protect whatever is there.
I don't think I don't think that we're kowtowing to Mossad because Israel needs America too much. You know what I mean? Like if it was gonna extract the behavior of America toward it through blackmail, it would be a terrible strategy, because at a certain point that would end, and then the repercussions would be devastating. You would lose the friendship of America. I don't think Israel and Mossad are too bright to put themselves in that position. So it seems to me that it was at some point some kind of an American operation. Again, purely speculating, but isn't there a history like the FBI had that in the days of Hoover?
Oh, Hoover invented the theory, I think. I mean, invented the
Exactly. Like he
practice.
had the goods
He,
on a lot of people.
and,
Yeah.
and when he died, let's see, who was president? I can't remember. Was it George Bush, the elder, or maybe? Yeah, I think. But whoever it was, he ordered his people to go to the FBI headquarters and to Hoover's home and immediately collect all of his files that he may have had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I
Too
don't know where
dangerous. Too
it'd be
dangerous.
interesting to see where those files are today
Yeah.
and what they contain. All right. Well, so tell us about the movie Guns and Moses. It comes out today. First of all,
Yes.
where do we watch it? How can we see it?
So there's a list of. We're starting in 78 cities. We're up against. We're David. We're up against Goliath, right? So Goliath is Superman, F1, Mission Impossible, Jurassic Park. The studio movies used to come out in 2,000 theaters. Now they come out in 4,000. So they take
Wow.
up 2, 3, 4 theaters in every multiplex. And to compete against that, an independent film like ours has to generate buzz. And thank God we are. People are very excited about this movie. When you show the trailer, people are going to see right away this is not a movie that ever could have been made in Hollywood. It's going to piss off Hollywood. It is not the values of Hollywood. We really speak to all of America. You don't find profanity and nudity here, but you find a great thriller that respects traditional values. Like I said, it's pro Second Amendment, it's pro faith, and it's pro truth. It's great to be on your show because we really are a pro truth movie, and with big stars, and it's a great movie. But I'll tell you, when we had finished cutting picture and we started doing visual effects and sound, and we showed it, my producing partner showed it to a big agent, a major agency, a suit, right, in Hollywood, whose job it is to sell independent pictures to distributors. And this is an expert about what America's looking for. And this guy watches our movie and he says, great movie. You guys are going to make a lot of money in streaming. I said, well, thanks, but we see this as a theatrical film. He says, a rabbi with a gun, how many Jews are there really? New York, LA, Florida. I said, well, thanks. That's an important part of our audience, but a much bigger part of our audience is Christian and conservative. He says, what are you talking about? Those people hate Jews. I'm like, are you, have you ever met the people that you fly over between New York and LA? Because it's clear to me you have not met them. And I interact with them every day. In addition to being a film director, I'm an influencer. I have a Jewish wisdom platform called Accidental Talmudist. I teach what's beautiful in Torah and the Jewish tradition with 1 million followers on Facebook, a few 100,000 more on other platforms. And I've been doing this for 10 years, and probably half, maybe a little more than half of our audience is not Jewish. And they tend to be Christian. They tend to be conservative. They tend to really love Jesus. And they're interested in what Jesus, who was Jewish, was learning when he was learning Torah, when he was studying scripture, when he was studying the tradition that stretches all the way back to God's revelation at Mount Sinai when he gave the Torah to the Jewish people on behalf of the whole world. And we learn together every day. My audience is not trying to make me Christian. I'm not trying to make them Jewish, but there's so much that we can learn together. And so I know that the average American who lives in the flyover states, as this people like him consider, have a strong bond with Israel, with the Bible, with my tradition, with my people. They take Genesis 12:3 seriously. That God will bless those who bless the descendants of Abraham, and he will curse the one who curses them. And so, and look at what Hollywood does. They pump out prequel, sequel, retread, reboot. They have given up on making money in theaters. Even the biggest movies that you're hearing about right now, they're spending $200 million to open them. For them to be profitable is almost impossible. They've given up on making money in theaters, and they tell themselves that America has lost the theater going habit because of COVID and because of TV and because of streaming and because of phones, when in fact it's because America's lost interest in what Hollywood is pumping out because it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Well, it's easier to blame other people and other things. You never want to look
Exactly.
inward and see what the real problems are. But my parents taught me never to socially talk about politics, money, and religion. And here we go. I've got to ask you, just for my own intellectual need. I don't really. Jews pray to God, the same God that we do, I believe. Is that
There's
right?
only one God. There's only one God.
And Jewish people do have a real strong faith. But what is this about Jesus? Why is it so important that Christians believe in Jesus and Jews reject Jesus. I would ask it both ways. Why is it so important for Jews to cling to this notion of Jesus, the Son of God, and why do Jews reject him?
Well, we were given a law that is the Torah, that is for all time. Uh, and according to the law, when the Messiah comes, and we pray for the coming of the Messiah, we long for the coming of the Messiah in the Messianic age, we pray for that every day. And when that day comes, the world will be fundamentally transformed. And so that hasn't happened yet, right? So we're not seeing that the knowledge of God is as universal throughout the world as the way the water fills the sea. Things like the lion and the lamb. I mean, you won't have to believe in God after the Messiah comes. You will be experiencing God's presence constantly. So for us, since that hasn't come yet, we're not going to say that the Messiah has come.
And that's where you would get a very strong negative reaction from Christians who
Exactly.
actually have this little book that has survived the ages called the Bible, and the New Testament really is all about Jesus
Yeah.
visiting our world.
But that's what we disagree on. Now,
Yes.
what we agree on is so much more.
That's the point I was trying to get to.
3/4 of the Christian Bible is the Hebrew Bible, right? So the New Testament is much shorter than what you call the Old Testament, what we call the Hebrew Bible, the Bible. But we overlap the entire book of Psalms, the entire book of Proverbs, the entire 5 books of Moses, Joshua, Judges, Samuel, Kings, so much. And there's so much to learn and to do. And so, for example, and I'm going to have to go soon because I have to teach my class. Even now, as I have a movie coming out, I teach my daily Torah class.
Good for you.
It begins in 19 minutes. But I'd love to leave you with a short teaching that I think every person of faith would appreciate. What is the first commandment that God gave all humanity? What is it?
Thou shalt not steal?
Nope. That was included among the 10 commandments. But much earlier than that was be fruitful and multiply. That was the very first commandment that God gave. Now, what's interesting about that is normally we understand it as have children, right? Form families, have children, make sure that we have more people to pass down a good and righteous society to the next generation. But if that's all it meant, it would suffice to say multiply. What does be fruitful mean? What does bear fruit mean? And I
collect a lot of stuff, I think.
No, definitely not. Not collect stuff. Not collect stuff. Bear fruit. Bear fruit means this. John, you and I don't have souls. We are souls. We have bodies. We come from an eternal place. We'll return to that eternal place. We're here for a limited amount of time for a mission, for a purpose. Every single one of us, at a certain point, God decided that the world could no longer exist without you in it. And so he sent you into this world, and there was a reason that you were sent into this world. The challenge is that we come with amnesia. We don't know what our mission is. We have to discover it. Really, what we have to do is remember it. Now, if we keep saying, what is my mission? What is my mission? What is the problem that won't get solved unless I solve it? Who is the person that won't be helped unless I help him? What is the invention that won't be invented that the world needs unless I invent it? What is the story that won't be written unless I write it? Keep asking that question. God, please show me my purpose. Show me my mission. Why did you send me here? Why am I here? What is the unique contribution to the world that only I can make? And when a person keeps asking that question, the answer will come. It will come into focus, almost like a camera coming into focus on their mission. But it only happens if they keep asking the question. And that's what it means to bear fruit. Not everybody is blessed to have children, but everyone can bear fruit in this world.
That is a very inspirational message, and I really appreciate your sharing it with us. I was kind of being funny, but now I feel small with my selfish answer. But regardless,
we're having fun. We're learning together.
We are learning together, and I appreciate your sharing your knowledge with us. And I hope you do great with the movie. How much does it cost to get in?
It's a movie theater movie. It's a proper movie theater movie. So you can just go to gunsandmosesmovie.com.
I haven't been in a long time. How much is it?
These days, maybe $15 per seat, depending on where you are. Sometimes less, sometimes more. But I'll tell you something. People like what you just said. We've been hearing so much. I haven't been to the movie theater in ages. I'm going to
Yeah.
go see Guns N' Moses. I want you to succeed. We need to have a big opening weekend so that we can expand. We're in 18 states this weekend, and we need to get across all of America. And the way that that's going to happen is if people get out with their feet and support Guns N' Moses by going to a movie theater. If there's not one near you now, send the link to somebody who lives in one of those cities in New York, Florida, Pennsylvania, California. Just look it up on gunsandmosesmovie.com. That's where the theaters are. And we appreciate so much people who come see it in a theater. I guarantee to your audience, John, and to you, that you will be entertained and you'll have something to talk about afterward.
Well, my wife loves to go to the movies. I'll run it by her and see what she says. Predict that she will give a resounding yes. So we talked about politics. We talked about religion. A movie is not cheap to produce, is it?
No, sir. No, sir.
So can you make a buck on it, you think?
If people come out in this weekend and next weekend and it keeps growing, it's a real word of mouth movie. We've already seen that. People love it. When they see this movie, they love it. They tell their friends. And if we become a hit in theaters, then yeah, then we can make money. Thank God. I think we have that opportunity and people are getting behind it. For sure, it is not just Jews who are going to this movie. It's a broad American audience. Like I said, this is a movie that speaks to the values of all of America, not the elites in New York and LA who have really lost the plot on who America is and what America is looking for.
Salvador Litvak, thank you for coming on The Truth. You have been a really fun guest to have. I've enjoyed it. And I hope that the movie does really well. Guns N' Moses, and you can find it at gunsandmoses.com or gunsandmosesmovie.com.
Gunsandmosesmovie.com. And I just
There
want to say
you go.
one more thing, because this is
Yeah,
why we were
plug the
originally
book.
this is why we were supposed to do this appearance. It just happened to be on the day my movie's coming out. But I also wrote a book, and this is a lot of fun. It's a best-selling book. It's on Amazon called Let My People Laugh, Greatest Jewish Jokes of All Time. Again, not just for Jewish people. There's a lot of joke books that have too many jokes and like they're not funny. There's just bad jokes in there. I weeded it down. There's 162 great jokes, the greatest Jewish jokes of all time. They're in here. They're numbered so that there's lists of, the best jokes when you have a first date or a business lunch or a golf outing, jokes that are good for those situations. So it's a great resource for anybody.
Salvador, I hate to do this to you, but could you lay one on us as we're going out here?
You got it. A rabbi, a Hindu priest, and a politician are out hiking. And they're supposed to have this hotel that they're going to sleep at, but they get lost. They can't find it. The sun is coming down, and they're kind of scared how they're going to spend the night. And they see a farmhouse. They knock on the door. They ask the farmer if they can stay. The farmer says, no problem. But I got to tell you, I only have a small guest room. It's got 2 beds in it. One of you is going to have to sleep in the barn. So the Hindu priest says, no problem, my brothers. I will take the barn. The rabbi and the politician are settling down for the night. And there's a knock on the bedroom door. It's the Hindu priest. He says, my brothers, I'm sorry. There's a cow in the barn. I cannot sleep beside this holy animal. The rabbi says, no problem. I'll take the barn. The politician and the priest are settling down for the night. All of a sudden, knock on the door. It's the rabbi. He says, fellas, there's a pig in the barn. I can't sleep beside a filthy pig. The politician says, let it be remembered. I sacrificed for the greater good. He heads out to the barn. The rabbi and the Hindu priest are settling down for the night. There's a knock on the door. They open it. It's the pig and the cow.
That was a good one, Salvador. Thank you very much. Come back soon, and good luck with the movie, and Let My People Laugh. What an enjoyable way to wrap up our interview. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. All the best, John. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Our pleasure.